As Christians. God not only chooses us as His children, claims us as His children, but He surrounds our lives with gifts that come from His hand and His heart into your life and mine, into our living every single day. Almost every moment of every day is the tangible evidence of a good and gracious God whose love for us is real and strong. And so His hand, you hear me today, His hand and His heart in your life and mine is open. Not only righteous, but gracious, giving, redeeming, wondrous for us, filled with His mercy and His love for us as His children. Every single day in your life and mine, this God comes to us and brings to us exactly what we need, sometimes what we don't anticipate, always what is good for us, always what will grace us in ways that are pleasing to Him because we're His beloved children. Today, in this hour, in this moment in your life and mine, God is here. He is present with us. This one who is promised to be is. And the word He speaks to your life and mine today, in this hour, in these moments, is a word of power and possibility and shaping and changing. It's a wondrous word. We heard it before. This morning, I want you to hear it again. Listen. If you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where He is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on things of the earth. Well, now that sounds easy enough to do for you and for me, but I want you to hear this morning right off the top that it's not. Well, let me show you. For the next 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes, however long I ramble on, this is the rules of the game. I want you to focus on me. I don't want you to look at your bulletin. I don't want you to look at the person next to you. I don't want you to look at your watch. I don't want you to look at the floor. I don't want you to look at the ceiling. For the next 12 or 15 minutes, first of all, with your eyeballs, with your mind, with your perspective, with everything you are sitting there this morning for the next 12 or 15 minutes, I want you to focus on me. Now don't get distracted by your children, by the person sitting next to you. Don't be looking out into the lobby. Don't think about going to the bathroom. For the next 15 minutes, you focus right here on me. Okay, maybe it isn't so easy. In a similar way, kind of like that, this idea of focusing on things above for you and for me, what the Bible talks about, is never easy for us to do either. In part, loved ones, because there is so much here that draws our attention. Gosh, there are tempting things. Our world, our society, our culture, the place where you and I live is filled with bling and baubles. Gosh, there's so much stuff. And if we don't have it, we'd like to. There is around us on a constant basis the everlasting flow, this avalanche of this waterfall of things. And they draw our attention, our eyes, sometimes our hearts, our minds, our work, our labor. Oh, there are tempting things. Every one of us here today also have this, that there are consuming realities in our day-to-day lives. Almost everybody who came into church today, preacher included, probably has at least one thing going on in your life today that is so whelming and overwhelming for you that you're thinking about it and dwelling on it and maybe worried about it, frustrated about it. There are these consuming circumstances that draw our attention to here. And then maybe we need to mention, I suppose it's worth mentioning today, that there are the day-to-day realities we all deal with. You know what tomorrow is? It's Monday. Kind of makes you want to jump up and down, doesn't it? Thinking about going to work, what's next, what will be, what might be, what could be tomorrow. The day-to-day realities. And all of that, loved ones, simply speaks this truth to us, that there is so much here that just draws our attention. So for us to be preoccupied with here and now, I just want you to hear, that's not unusual. It's what you and I as human beings are prone to. Or more specifically, listen to me this morning, it is what our nature draws us to. You know, as human beings, with everything that means, with everything that entails, as human beings who are sinful and broken and lost, imperfect in lots of ways, all the things of our life in this moment are either attractive or compelling for us in such a way that it is so easy for us to get focused here. It's about the here of my life. It's about my job. It's about the bills I have to pay. It's about my marriage. It's about my children. It's about this. It's about that. It's about here. Our nature, yours and mine, oh gosh, it just shouts it to us, and the world backs it up. And yet this is the danger for us, for every one of us. The danger is that we can get so consumed with here and now that it becomes the main thing, kind of the only thing in our lives. In fact, loved ones, you hear me this morning, that is why. That is why as God calls us here as His people, as He loves us to this place, that is why our seeking the things above is so important for us. Because, and you hear me this morning, because doing so points you and me to the one whose name is Jesus. Past all of the clutter and the distractions that are part of our here and now, to the one who really and truly is the main thing. You see, the more you and I, by the power of the Holy Spirit, the more we focus on Jesus, the more we really do, by His power and His work, we come to realize that in our lives, He's the main thing. The more we focus on Jesus, the more it becomes clear to you and to me that He is the only one, now you hear me, He's the only one that can provide the things that are so essential for us. Every single one of us here today, preacher included, we need to be forgiven. And that can only come from the God who has given His life so that we can be. We need to know that we're loved and cared for, and the kind of love and care that we need can only come from this one whose name is Jesus. We need life. It's real life. And it can only come from the one whose name is Jesus. In our living, in the moments of our lives, every single day of our lives, the more we're focused on Jesus, the less likely you and I are to get lost here. You know, if there's any difference between those of us who have gathered in God's houses today and those who don't know the Lord Jesus Christ as Savior, it's this. They live here, and for them, here is all there is. And so being lost here is not unusual, it is absolutely the norm. For you and I as people of the kingdom, it's exactly what God doesn't want for us. And so, this is love. This is love. He brings us together. He calls us together so that the more we focus on this kind and precious Savior, the less likely we are to get lost here. In fact, this is the Lord's gift to us. To you and to me, to each one of us. Keeping our focus on things above is something that He does in your life and mine by the power of His Word and the working of His grace. Today He resets our vision. He transforms your longings and mine so that our hearts are set on Him. So that we long for and desire His gifts. In fact, I want you to hear today, loved ones, it is exactly what He is doing in this hour. Over the last couple of years, I've talked to you a lot about God's holy purpose. That He is purposeful in our lives as His children. I want you to hear this morning. Today He brought you here. Today He brought you here. Today He brought you here, each one of us. He brought us here so that in these moments before Him, by His power, through His grace, in His Word, He can lift our hearts and our minds beyond just here to what is real and eternal and wondrous. He has such a wonderful way of just balancing our lives. You know, for every one of us, and I'll start with the preacher, for every one of us, God is so unbelievably generous. He opens His hand and His heart and He pours into our lives gifts after gifts after gifts. He doesn't give us the things of the now of our lives so that we can poo-poo them or think that they're evil and wrong as Christians. No, hear me. With Jesus in our lives, He does this wonderful balancing thing. He helps us as His children to enjoy the blessings of now. Our friends, our family, our homes, what He puts on our tables and on our backs, our work, all the gifts of now. And at the same time, He keeps you and I, by His love and mercy through His Word, focused also on things above. On His kindness. On the life we have in Him. It's a wondrous thing. Last night before it rained a little bit, I'll stare at you. Last night before it rained a little bit, I keep forgetting. I was sitting out on the patio. Renee was in with the dog, or dogs, doing I don't know what, with the dogs. And I was sitting out on the patio, and it's just absolutely lovely outside. I mean, it is just lovely. And my backyard is quiet, praise God. I'm sitting out there with my feet up and relaxing and enjoying. And you know, I looked around and I thought, God, you are so good to me. How about you? There is the here and the now, and it is rich with His blessing. I know that some of you sitting and listening to my voice this morning may be in a place in your life that you're struggling to see that blessing. I want you to hear, child of the kingdom, He is rich in blessing. He is giving to you in just the right measure. The here and now is such a treasure for us. But you know, Sunday morning was coming. And part of Sunday morning coming is, I know as a child of the kingdom, He's going to remind my heart and my life again that I belong to Him, and He has, by His blood, through His power, something even more wondrous for me. He lifts my focus. What a wondrous balance. Keeping focus on the things above. It's never easy for us. But it is, my loved ones, exactly what the Lord wants for His children. It is what He is working in our lives, even in this hour. So today, this morning, with His help, we seek the things above. We look up. We look up to Him. Our focus. I'm done preaching now. If you would rise, please.